Hello, sports fans. Welcome to the Oklahoma Sports Report OU Football Edition. Rick Heath, Mark Rodgers from Pub W here in Norman. And Mark, I mean, look at this. These folks are treating us right. They got.
This isn't a prop, by the way. This is a real deal.
This is a beef power bowl.
I love it.
This is Nashville fries, which are fries with Nashville sauce, chicken tenders, pickles, and ranch. And that is a bruschetta salad, chicken bruschetta salad. So what great food they have. You can see that. We don't have to vouch for it. It is great looking food.
Normally, I'm going to move the meat and the beef over here closer to me and let that salad stay over there. So it's all good. We've had all of these. It's delicious.
Hey, what a great presentation. And speaking of presentations, how about OU's presentation last weekend against West Virginia?
Well, first, welcome back from off the disabled list.
Thank you. And by the way, you guys did a great job without me, which is not needed. But anyway, go ahead.
I wasn't high on OU's chances going into the game. It kind of looked like OU was trending down and West Virginia was trending up. So it was really good to see Oklahoma play its best game since Texas, or maybe even its best game, period, of the season. They threw the ball down the field and were really aggressive on defense. I think Danny Stutzman's return is important on the field, but it's also important in terms of the fabric of the team and his ability to talk to players and get some leadership going. So I think that was big both ways.
My main takeaway is number 8 got 8.
8 touchdowns. That's the most ever accounted for by one player in Oklahoma football history. That was a great day.
Dylan Gabriel, number 8. Got 8 touchdowns. Was responsible for 8. He threw 5 and ran for 3. Unbelievable performance. Needed that because the fans, and OU fans are hard to satisfy. Obviously, it's been that way forever. They were complaining he hadn't been used enough, which I agreed with. But this time, Jeff Levy and Dylan Gabriel were on the same page and 8 for 8. I love it.
And you wonder, where was that?
Yeah,
there are a couple
where's
of games
that
this
been?
season,
No
but
kidding.
And it's not hopefully too late for Oklahoma to put that together and potentially get to a Big 12 championship game.
Hopefully it's not too late for the fans and for OU food. We are at Pub W, where you can come and get great food like Nashville fries, bruschetta salad, or a beef powerball. I'm thinking millions.
What you're talking about.
I'm thinking millions here.
That tastes like a
power bowl. Anyway, we'll be right back from Pub W.
Let us help you get on your journey to feeling better and living a more healthy life. Dr. Gumman at Harmony Healing Center is dedicated to providing personalized care to each of his patients. Internationally trained and nationally recognized, with over 24 years of practice, Dr. Gumman is the highest recommended acupuncturist in Oklahoma. Call and schedule your appointment today.
Hi friends. Did you know that over 80 million men and women suffer from hair loss? Well, now there's help. Dr. Victoria Johnson and her staff at Laser Light Skin Clinic are introducing a revolutionary laser hair loss treatment called Alma TED. Alma TED uses a proprietary laser that will help stop hair loss and promote growth. For more information, give Dr. Victoria Johnson and her staff at Laser Light a call and stop hair loss today.
You are the most beautiful creation under the sun. Daily Informations. You are going to make Table 14 so happy. And you are being taken away. All right. At Neighborhood Jam, you deserve breakfast as beautiful as you. So start the day right with scratch-made favorites, morning or midday, every day. Treat yourself to Neighborhood Jam. You're gonna taste just as good tomorrow.
Oh man, dude, I really wish I could make that. It's National No Pants Day, and that'd be kind of inappropriate.
We actually just had gas station sushi, and you just don't want to chance that.
We're gonna be running tornado drills all day.
I have tickets to see Kenny Rodgers. He's what?
Tornado drill.
Your friends are tired of coming up with excuses. Two Fellas Moving Company, saving friendships since 1996.
Wonderfolk Spirits distilled out of Guthrie, Oklahoma. Great line of spirits. They have Wonderfolk Gin, Wonderfolk Vodka, and Old Moses Bourbon. All of these are quality products, and they're distilled right here in Oklahoma. So support Oklahoma business. Ask your favorite restaurant or bar to carry Wonderfolk Spirits. And welcome back, Oklahoma Sports Report. Mark Rodgers, Rick Heath from Pub W here in Norman. Mark, you said it in the first segment, probably the best performance on both sides of the ball for OU since Texas, or maybe this year. I mean, on both sides they played well. We're going to talk about the offensive side. We already mentioned 8 for 8, but another aspect of it, the receivers were really on target with Dylan Gabriel, and the running game looked better than it has in a long time.
Well, I think
they've
identified who the best running back is. I mean, I know that Tawi Walker's had some good games this year, and to me, he's more of an inside running threat. But Gavin Sawchuk gives you the ability to hit some big plays. He's fast, he's shifty, and so I think they desperately needed somebody to come forward at that position, because it's not really good for rotational rhythm to play 4 guys at one spot. Ideally, running back rotation should be 2, maybe with the 3rd guy sprinkled in and some different packages. But Gavin Sawchuk, to me, has proven to be the best running back on the team. And you got him at least another year, and possibly 2. He's a true sophomore, and so that's good for building for the future. Passing-wise, look at Drake Stoops. Could be a first-team all-conference wide receiver. He probably is at this point. They trust him a ton to get open. Dylan
Gabriel looks for him when he needs a big, a solid play, a first down. It's 3rd and 6. He's looking for Stoops. 3rd and 15. He's looking for Stoops. I mean, he is just a clutch performer.
He's been great all season. I think Nick Anderson also shows what kind of big play potential that he has as a young player. I think he's destined for the NFL, and I think Drake Stoops is working his way into an NFL draft position also.
I don't want to jinx Drake Stoops, but I mean, he's looks like a little bit more powerful Wes Welker.
I think the lateral movement is lacking to compare to Wes Welker, which might be said for everybody. Period.
Yeah.
I mean, Wes was that good laterally, but I think it's not a bad comparison. Both slot players, both tough, both skilled.
So, and the other thing that I want to bring up about the offense, I mean, Dylan Gabriel was named Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week, but he doesn't get that without good offensive line play. And I think the line against a very good West Virginia line, defensive line, played their best game.
They did.
Minus 2 starters.
Yeah, and maybe, I don't know, up and down from week to week, there was the mistakes with the snapping the football in the Oklahoma State game that kind of leaves you shaking your head. And so they need some depth in the area of the offensive line, and maybe the fact that without the starters, the guys stepped up into positions shows that the future can be kind of bright there.
Well, and one of the things they kept going back to after the game was no pre-snap penalties.
Yeah.
And that's where the line's been confusing all year long, is motions, bad snap there, getting before the ball is even in motion, they're getting penalties and getting behind the chains. That didn't happen as much against West Virginia, and so and the offensive line started carving out some big holes for Sawchuk.
Yeah, and again, with his ability to hit the hole, his explosiveness, Sawchuk doesn't necessarily need to have gaping holes there to turn into big plays.
And that's the advantage of having someone with the elusiveness and speed of Sawchuk. And as you said, Tawi Walker is a good straight-ahead runner, but you got to give him a seam. You got to give him a little bit of an opening, and once he's there, he can take advantage of it and run very tough. But Sawchuk can get the ball behind the line of scrimmage, juke a guy in the backfield, and still get upfield and get you 8, 10, 12, maybe 40 yards.
Yeah, so I like that ability, and again, that is unique and stands out amongst the other running backs.
Now, going to BYU, now a little bit of trivia there, BYU is undefeated against OU. There's not many teams that can say that.
They won in the infamous Copper Bowl. They also won in the game with Sam Bradford got hurt.
Schnellenberger Copy Bowl.
That's right, where Schnellenberger showed up, and that was a rough night for the Sooners.
They should have probably put a microphone on Schnellenberger before he started drinking and said it at halftime.
I mean, if you're in Tucson, you probably you're going to throw a couple back. But that's the only 2, right?
Yeah. So, but anyway,
time to make amends.
Did you ever play at altitude?
Oh, of course. With Blackwell, we went to Alva, the high plains, about 900 feet. No, I've been at, 1 year I was late working on the sidelines with the OU crew, and had to fly through Denver, not with the team, because I had to stay back and work on Friday night, and they dropped me off halfway across campus. It was about 15 minutes late to the pregame show with Bob
Boulder?
Sr. in Boulder, and yeah, I mean, I wasn't quite in as good a physical condition as I was at any other time in my life, and I was very winded. It was a tough stretch.
About the only time I played in altitude is played at snow skiing. A couple falls and all that, getting back up, you start feeling that altitude. We'll talk more about
BYU's
that.
offense has been inept at any altitude so far this season. I don't think it's going to be much of a challenge for OU's defense. Big favorites in this game, 20-point favorites. That says a lot.
On the road, you bet. Hey, we'll be right back with more on Oklahoma Sports Report.
Let us help you get on your journey to feeling better and living a more healthy life. Dr. Gumman at Harmony Healing Center is dedicated to providing personalized care to each of his patients. Internationally trained and nationally recognized, with over 24 years of practice, Dr. Gumman is the highest recommended acupuncturist in Oklahoma. Call and schedule your appointment today.
Hi friends, did you know that over 80 million men and women suffer from hair loss? Well, now there's help. Dr. Victoria Johnson and her staff at Laser Light Skin Clinic are introducing a revolutionary laser hair loss treatment called Alma-TED. Alma-TED uses a proprietary laser that will help stop hair loss and promote growth. For more information, give Dr. Victoria Johnson and her staff at Laser Light a call and stop hair loss today.
You are the most beautiful creation under the sun. Daily Informations. You are going to make Table 14 so happy. And you are being taken away. All right. At Neighborhood Jam, you deserve breakfast as beautiful as you. So start the day right with scratch-made favorites, morning or midday, every day. Treat yourself to Neighborhood Jam. You're gonna taste just as good tomorrow.
Oh man, dude, I really wish I could make that. It's National No Pants Day, and that'd be kind of inappropriate.
We actually just had gas station sushi, and you just don't want to chance that.
We're gonna be running tornado drills all day.
I have tickets to see Kenny Rodgers. He's what?
Tornado drill.
Your friends are tired of coming up with excuses. Two Fellas Moving Company, saving friendships since 1996.
Wander Folk Spirits distilled out of Guthrie, Oklahoma. Great line of spirits. They have Wander Folk Gin, Wander Folk Vodka, and Old Moses Bourbon. All of these are quality products, and they're distilled right here in Oklahoma. So support Oklahoma business. Ask your favorite restaurant or bar to carry Wander Folk Spirits.
Let us help you get on your journey to feeling better and living a more healthy life. Dr. Gumman at Harmony Healing Center is dedicated to providing personalized care to each of his patients. Internationally trained and nationally recognized, with over 24 years of practice, Dr. Gumman is the highest recommended acupuncturist in Oklahoma. Call and schedule your appointment today.
Hi friends, did you know that over 80 million men and women suffer from hair loss? Well, now there's help. Dr. Victoria Johnson and her staff at Laser Light Skin Clinic are introducing a revolutionary laser hair loss treatment called Alma-TED. Alma-TED uses a proprietary laser that will help stop hair loss and promote growth. For more information, give Dr. Victoria Johnson and her staff at Laser Light a call and stop hair loss today. And welcome back, Oklahoma Sports Report. Mark Rodgers, Rick Heath from Pub W, where you can come and get wonderful food like this. Nashville fries, which are fries with chicken tenders, Nashville seasoning, ranch, pickles, and a little flavoring there. And Mark will vouch for this, a steak power bowl, delicious looking, and then bruschetta salad there to kind of mellow things out here. But you can get food like that right here at each of the Pub W's. There's a half dozen around the metro. Find one near you. We got great food, great drinks, and always sports on the TV. Before we go to defense, I want to mention two things about offense. Dylan Gabriel and Drake Stoops, big players in the game. But one of the things that I enjoyed about both of their performance is the last touchdown Drake caught. He got leveled in the end zone. and the West Virginia guy was standing over him and started walking off, and the next thing you see is Dylan Gabriel in that guy's face just giving him the business.
Yeah, that was cool. I think it shows the bond that those guys have as teammates. Plus, and I think that he was summoned there by the football gods. You don't do that to Stoops and Dorn.
That's right. That's right.
Bad move.
That's a no. That's a no. I'm surprised Bob didn't parachute out of the press box down there to say something.
Bob knows better than to have to take up for his kid. He knows he can handle his own business.
He can handle his own business.
Yeah.
He's done that all of his life. So, but anyway, I thought that was a neat deal. Let's go to defense. As you said, BYU's offense has been the only side of the ball that's really had any kind of performance. Their defense has been lacking all year, but still, it's pretty anemic. They only got, 17 points last week against Iowa State?
I mean, normally BYU, you connotate with offense from the great Lavelle Edwards years, but they have an NFL arm at quarterback in Keaton Slovis, but they haven't been able to stretch the field and throw the football with any success down the field, and they've had even less success rushing the ball. It's non-existent. So I think some of those issues are offensive line. If you don't give your quarterback time, you're not going to be able to throw the ball downfield. And so I expected more from BYU in their first year. If you look at, go back 6 weeks ago, they're winning at Arkansas, scoring a bunch of points, and you say, hey, it's a nice win. BYU goes on the road and gets a win against an SEC team. But since then, the wheels have kind of fallen off. Yeah,
for BYU and Arkansas, by the way. But, the Lavelle Edwards Field, I mean, you always thought of Lavelle Edwards teams as they were one of the first that had that high-energy offense. Pass the ball around, always, big offensive linemen, fourth and fifth year seniors, 24-year-old guys up there on the offensive line. That was what you knew BYU for forever, and now it's not the same old Cougars because they're just not that efficient as they were before.
Well, they've had some interesting players at quarterback. Taysom Hill now's had a long career with the New Orleans Saints, and then Jalen Hall at Minnesota Vikings was the backup quarterback to Kirk Cousins. They traded for Josh Dobbs now, but they still have a pretty good legacy at quarterback, and I still think they have a good quarterback in this game. 11 a.m. start. That's a 10 a.m. time clock start for Oklahoma. You have to worry about. You got to worry. It'll be a big deal that Oklahoma's coming to town, for that game. So as bad as BYU has played this year, there'll probably be a little extra pep in their step for this game. So you have to come out, and you can't take this for granted from the beginning of the game if you're playing for Oklahoma. Big win last week. Played great. Can't let down and get yourself caught up in a game where they jump out quickly due to a couple of quick turnovers or just kind of overall plays.
And West Virginia takes the opening kickoff and marches right down the field and goes 7-0, and you're going, whoa, wait a minute. Of course, OU answered and tied it up, and then they got their turnover and all that. But
did you put a small wager in on OU minus 35 the in-game wagering when OU was down 7-0? I thought, oh no, this does not look good at all.
This does not look good at all because they're not going to get, but they did get back into it, and even better than that, got 59. One of the few teams that has scored more than 50 points 3 games. You know who the other one is? USC.
Wow.
Yeah, only one of 2 teams that have scored more than 50 points 3 times this year. And USC, rumor, got to pass the rumor along.
Let's hear it.
The Alamo Bowl has been pushing out some information about OU, if they don't win the Big 12, to the Alamo Bowl against SC. USC.
Well, you're going to feel like, all right, if you're a Pac-12 team, there's going to be several of those in the standings ahead of USC, and you're going to get passed over just so USC can go to the Alamo Bowl?
Alamo Bowl wants that matchup of USC against OU. Now, scoop, if they do that, USC is going to be missing 2 important ingredients, Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams.
I don't think Lincoln Riley's leaving USC, but I agree with you. Caleb Williams will not be visiting the Alamo.
He will not be going to Texas.
He'll be preparing for the NFL draft.
Exactly.
That week.
Anyway, but OU's offense doing well. BYU's defense not as good. BYU's offense not what we think they are. OU's defense playing better than they have. And we'll talk about that when we get into the next segment here at the Oklahoma Sports Report. And welcome back, Oklahoma Sports Report. Mark Rodgers, Rick Heath from Pub W. Hey, there are over a half a dozen Pub W's in the metro area. Go to the nearest one and you too can get wonderful food like Nashville fries, French fries with chicken tenders, Nashville seasoning, ranch dressing, and pickles. Also a steak power bowl and a chicken bruschetta salad. Food like that just in abundance here at Pub W. Mark, the scenarios have been floating around media and fans, and the scenarios for the Big 12 championship game. Right now, OU does not control its own destiny. It needs help. Texas is basically the only team that controls its own destiny because they're only one loss. So kind of go over that for the fans and let us kind of have that scenarios in our head as the next 2 weeks develop.
Well, I have no idea who designed the tiebreakers in the Big 12 conference, but I don't know that they would get another contract because, for example, there's a three-way tie scenario between Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, and Kansas State in which Oklahoma State would not advance to the Big 12 championship game, having beaten the other two teams in the three-way tie. Usually head-to-head is the number one scenario.
That generally trumps everything.
Yeah, the reason would be, in this case, is that Oklahoma and Kansas State didn't get a chance to play. It wouldn't have mattered if they did. Oklahoma State clearly beat them both, so they advance out of the tiebreaker. There's 7 different scenarios in which Oklahoma can go to the Big 12 championship game. Some are complicated, some aren't that complicated. Like, for example, Oklahoma State loses a game, then Oklahoma controls its own destiny. If Texas loses, Oklahoma's got a pretty good chance to go in there. There's even a scenario in which it could be Oklahoma and Kansas State in the championship game. So things need to unfold. The one scenario in which if Texas, Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma win out, what would need to happen, and don't ask me why, I could probably explain it to you, but I might get lost myself, is that if Cincinnati beats Kansas in the final game of the regular season at Cincinnati. Now that game, I think Kansas will probably be favored maybe by a little less than a touchdown, so it's not far-fetched to say that that potentially could be a victory for the Bearcats there, but you're going to have to watch and see. You can't control
you got to stay tuned to the Oklahoma Sports Report and listen to Mark Rodgers, and he can explain those tiebreakers. But like you said, the guy that invented that, where if Kansas State, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State all tie, and Oklahoma State's beating the other two, they still don't advance. That guy is right. He is unemployed right now.
The one that you could have really hoped for at the beginning of the year would have been, there's about 5 combinations that have been odd, but if they're 3 undefeated teams, then how do you figure out who goes to the championship? It would have been the same way. I mean, you have to go way down strength of schedule at the bottom, but 14-team league playing only 8 league games or 9 league games still is not optimal.
All right, let's talk about a little bit about these games coming up this week. Oklahoma State, after that tough loss at UCF, where they didn't look anywhere near the same team that played OU just a week before, but at Houston. And not a real big favorite, by the way.
7 points. Dana Holgorsen coaching for his job, potentially struggled at Houston this year. Oklahoma State, I think, will bounce back. There was a tough opportunity at Central Florida in which they made mistakes, uncharacteristic mistakes. Ollie Gordon fumbled the ball. Weather played a part in the game, and it got away from him. I wouldn't count on Oklahoma State losing to Houston this week. I think it's a good bounce back opportunity for him.
I think so too. And Ollie Gordon's going to get the ball 25 plus times. He's going to run the ball until he can't run anymore. Mike Gundy's not going to take any chances on that one.
I will say this: Oklahoma State has had some individuals play really well on defense this season. Trey Rucker's been one. Jaden Daniels has played great. Colin Oliver, I think, has got a future in the NFL. If you look at their numbers, they're not good. Houston will have some success on offense. They've got a running, throwing quarterback, Donovan Smith, that's played in the Big 12, and I think that this could be a shootout. Last week's game didn't manifest into a shootout like I thought it would be because Oklahoma State can't be involved in a shootout when one team has 3 points. It doesn't score a touchdown.
Yeah, it's a shootout with no bullets.
This week, one team had blanks.
That's right. Okay, real quickly, Texas and Iowa State. Does Iowa State have a chance in this game?
Texas is better. You need some of that Ames cyclone magic. Temperatures will be, not optimal for Texas. I don't think it's going to be super cold, but second week in a row on the road. I've seen stranger things happen. Texas is a 10-point favorite in the game like they were last week at TCU. But I think Texas probably comes away with a win. But I wouldn't be shocked if Iowa State pulled off the upset.
I wouldn't either. But I've got a prediction for the OU at BYU. I got OU 52-17.
Wow, okay. That's a lot of points. That would be kind of a tough way to spend your one and only time to have Oklahoma come the one and only time. But they've got some games to make up for, like you pointed out.
Well, they don't like guys that they're undefeated against.
Yeah.
So if given a chance, they will do that to get everybody's attention. Hey, that's going to do it for the Oklahoma Sports Report. For Mark Rodgers, I'm Rick Heath. We'll see you next time on the Oklahoma Sports Report.